The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is only about a month away from the time that I'm recording this video, and it is very exciting to see what is going on with this game, and I really want to talk about it because I discussed it a bit in a previous video talking about what's going on with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom sales. Now we have a little bit of an update and also a little bit of information to bring to you guys. So right now, we know that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is Nintendo's biggest tracking game for this year by far. They released a number of games already this year, but no other game is going to be anywhere near The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, we do have some pre-order tracking that's going down, and it's looking like this is going to be the biggest Zelda launch of all time by a large margin. Now, over on Amazon, the game is still #1 when it comes to new releases, and essentially what they do there is they tally up all of the pre-orders that people are putting in. They're not actual counted sales at this point, but if somebody says, hey, I want to pre-order it, have it come to my door as soon as it can get there, usually on release day, sometimes it's a little bit later because Amazon is whatever, they tally up all those and then it gets put into a hourly ranking, and it's updated all the time, and people keep on pre-ordering The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, also just as exciting is the fact that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch, so the bundle there, or not even really a bundle, it's just the OLED of the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom edition, that is #2. So it's not sold out yet. You can still pre-order it. This is incredible and exciting news because we do know that there's going to be a lot of stock of these. A lot of times when Nintendo comes out with these premium edition, special consoles, sometimes they sell out very quickly or there's just not enough stock and scalpers go into a tizzy with them. But this theme has been available for pre-order for a couple weeks now, I think at this point, since we saw that Zelda presentation. It's been there on Amazon and you can pre-order it. I pre-ordered another one, probably going to be doing a giveaway soon, so make sure you follow me on Twitter and of course subscribe to the channel so you can get the details when we drop that. So it's pretty cool to see this, and it's very exciting. It shows that one, there's a lot of demand for this product, but also two, that Nintendo is incredibly confident with the sales of this game. And I want to get to another thing, which is kind of the elephant in the room with this game, especially with a title like the predecessor, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that sold 30 million units. But we have a little bit more information to go over. Now, also on Amazon, we do know that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has been the best selling game for the year. So there's already been titles that have been released on Amazon. You already have like Resident Evil, you have the God of War Ragnarok bundle with PlayStation 5, Metroid Prime. There's been a variety of different things released, Fire Emblem Engage, so many different games. But the game that's at the top when it comes down to just purely video games, it's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Even over some of the Roblox gift cards. Those Roblox cards, man, people love those. But it's really cool to see the fact that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the best-selling game on Amazon in 2023. That's the physical copy. Now, you have to remember, though, guys, is that a lot of PlayStation and Xbox games, like, they sell digitally now. Digitally is kind of like the thing. Nintendo Switch is almost the last bastion of physical games, so that's why you see so much physical stuff on Amazon. But I do think that people still like to collect physical, but it's big sales because Amazon is just a massive retailer. If you look back and look at the past when it comes to different games that have came out, there is a correlation between games doing incredibly well on Amazon and also the sales numbers that do come out. But with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we're not just seeing it on Amazon, we're also seeing it at multiple different retailers. I have a little bit of inside information for you guys because I do have some friends that work in distribution at some of the big physical retail stores, and they've told me that The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is pre-ordering incredibly well at various different GameStops in my location and also throughout the US. So it looks like things are picking up dramatically for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Pretty much every single GameStop that got certain stock of the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch OLED, they pretty much sold out of their stock of that, and the collector's edition has been gone. Like, it's just been gone. So people are excited. They're buying multiple versions of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. They're buying the Nintendo Switch OLED. They're buying the standard edition of the game. So it seems like the $70 price tag pretty much has zero effect on what this game was going to do at launch. There were some concerns from people, and I understand that, going up $10 out of nowhere. The game was $60. Then Nintendo said, hey, we can get $70 for this, and going up still would have been been great if it was 60, but the fact that it went up didn't really matter because these pre-order numbers are off the charts here at this point. And this is incredibly exciting for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and just the future of what Nintendo is going to do with the Zelda brand, because Zelda has never been more popular than it is right now. And that's really exciting for Zelda fans. That's really cool because Zelda has always been a popular franchise. It's been popular since its debut back in the late 80s, but it's never been this popular. It's never had this amount of notoriety, and it's never had sales this big and anticipation this big for a launch. We're looking at potentially, guys, 10 to 15 million units within the first few days of launch. That is huge. Like that first week or so, we could be looking at 10 million units plus, which is big for a Zelda game. Let me just give you guys a little bit of perspective with that. That would be like the full amount of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. It'd be like the full amount for the Ocarina of Time when that first released. Like, it is incredible to see the hype and anticipation and what's probably going to happen here for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm kind of slotting it in between what we saw with Splatoon 3 and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I don't think it's going to do 20 million plus in a month and a half like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did, but Splatoon 3 did about 10 million units plus in about 3 months. So I'm going to slot it right in between there. Within the first month and a half to 2 months, we could see 15 million units plus, which once again gets us to the elephant in the room. Will The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom outsell Breath of the Wild? And I have to say this, guys. At first, it seemed like it'd be an impossible task, right? 30 million units on an install base of 120 million over the course of a generation. Like, how could Tears of the Kingdom stack up to that? But the more that these sales numbers, or at least these pre-orders and this positioning starts to come in, the more that I'm thinking, wait a minute, no, it's going to beat The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom will. And not only is it going to beat it, it's going to beat it pretty bad, because there's the big ace up Nintendo's sleeve, and that is the next generation of the Nintendo Switch hardware. That's the Nintendo Switch 2 that we know is full in production and should be revealed sometime within the next 12 months. I would guess that we would get a reveal sometime in the next year. There will be a reveal. I think it's going to be late 2023 with the launch of early 2024. Or it could be a reveal in early 2024 with a launch sometime in mid to late 2024. So that's my timeline when I think it's going to happen, but that's where Tears of the Kingdom is going to continue to shine. It's going to sell like crazy at this point. It's going to sell next year and the year after and the year after. This is going to be a long-term seller, but that next Switch, I definitely think Nintendo is going to release a update patch for the Switch 2, to where if you have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the physical copy or digital copy, you can download an update and it'll get you improved performance, or it would just brute force the performance on there. So almost like the boosting mode that Xbox Series has over with some Xbox One games. So I do think it's going to be like that, which is also incredibly exciting for The Legend of Zelda fans out there, because if you want that increased resolution or performance or something, I think that the Switch 2 might be able to do that, or more like they're planning that with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And the reason why I think that is because of the rumor that we got the other day, which turned out a lot of it to be true with the Pokemon stuff, where it looks like there could be a patch for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with the next Switch, because they got a bunch of DLC stuff right in that post, which I did detail quite a bit. I'll have a link to that description below if you missed that video. Very fascinating stuff with the leaker and what he got right with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. So all in all, guys, Legend of Zelda fans, we have a lot to be excited about. There's a lot of good stuff, but the last point that I want to talk about with the Tears of the Kingdom sales and everything, the fact that Nintendo does have this huge install base, this is by far the best atmosphere The Legend of Zelda has ever launched in. Usually Zelda games are launching at a time where it really needs the game so the install base can grow. Nintendo is kind of struggling a little bit, or it's at the launch of a system and it needs to prove, hey, this is the system seller. There's none of that here. It's just a huge install base of a bunch of Nintendo fans still buying a lot of software and excited to play the game on there. And then you're going to get the people that are maybe not so content with what's going on with the Switch, but when the Switch 2 comes out, okay, that's going to be a time where they go and invest into some of these games. So it's a win-win situation. The people that really want to play on Switch, which there's going to be millions upon millions, cool, no problem whatsoever. They're going to buy that and keep buying it. And then, of course, Switch 2 is going to come and continue selling the game because there's not going to be another major Zelda game anytime soon. Now, there could be some remakes, some stuff like that. I think we could see some of like the Minish Cap or some games like that come out on Switch, or even Switch 2, or even Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess. Those still need to come out, right? It's been a while since those have been rumored. But I do feel that this is going to be the mainline Zelda game for quite some time till they start developing the next one, which I think they're probably going to start developing the next one at some point within the next 12 months or so. They will move on to the next thing if they haven't already started thinking of concepts for the next Zelda game on the Switch 2 hardware. So I think that this game has a long life in front of it. It's got so many creation tools and different things. People are going to be making videos and talking about this game for forever, just like people still make videos and get crazy amount of views on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, still finding new things. And this game gives you way more tools to experiment, to create, to explore. The world is going to be so much bigger. This is the most exciting time for a Legend of Zelda fan when it comes down to it. And these sales are exciting as well. People are getting hyped for it, and I cannot wait to see exactly what it does. Now, there is one more little piece of information that I do want to share with you guys, and that is some pre-order numbers out from Japan, which I did talk about before in a previous Zelda video. And The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is already tracking well above. It has surpassed what The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has done in Japan with pre-orders at the COMG. And the COMG does represent a smaller fraction of the overall sales numbers when it comes down to it, but the pre-orders are looking like the game is going to sell 350,000 copies within the first week or so. At least that's how many pre-orders are down. So this could be a massive 500,000 unit plus launch for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, not even accounting all of Japan or even digital sales. That's just the COMG, which pulls different retailers in terms of their pre-order numbers. Very, very impressive in my opinion, because it's already passed up The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which that game did incredible for a launch title on the Nintendo Switch hardware, brand new. It did really good. Zelda is one of those areas when it comes to Japan that wasn't quite as popular in terms of the ratio of sales from Nintendo's other franchises, like maybe Super Smash Brothers or Splatoon or certain Mario games or Pokemon, for example. But Zelda has made a huge jump within the last 5-6 years, and especially with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild leading the charge. So very exciting stuff here, guys, when it comes to the sales. And the reality is, it's going to be here, and it's going to be here very soon. And there's going to be some records broken. I'd expect it to break into the top 10 Nintendo Switch sales numbers for the Nintendo IR in the investor meetings. I'd expect it to break in right away when it comes down to it. So we'll see what Nintendo reports, because they did report the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sales. They reported what went down with Splatoon 3. So I'm guessing this is going to be very similar, if not bigger, than some of the things that we did see with Nintendo's previous major sellers. So what do you guys think about this when it comes down to everything? Please make sure you check out some of my previous videos on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where we discuss what some AAA developers had to say about Tears of the Kingdom, not being too happy about it, and also so much more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.